All right, happy Sunday. Hope you're all having a great weekend. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. Today's show is presented by Rhone. You can get 20% off their fantastic men's dress wear at rhone.com/chatsports, promo code chatsports. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. I'm rocking their commuter shirt on today's episode. On today's show, some major Eagles free agency rumors as it looks as though Philadelphia is in danger of losing several marquee playmakers who were really big figures en route to Super Bowl 57 in helping this team offensively and defensively. Here's the current buzz, and then we'll go player for player here with giving you the latest as to what's happening with these certain individuals. Brandon Graham getting some interest from the Cleveland Browns. Could the Philadelphia Eagles lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson as he could land one of the largest safety contracts in free agency? Isaac Seumalo could get top dollar as well, and the same can be said for James Bradberry at cornerback. First, though, this is today's poll question. Make sure you get your votes in down in the comment section. What's more important for the Eagles to get right this offseason? Is it the draft? Type D. Is it free agency? Type F. Let me know down below and share your thoughts. Let's begin with Brandon Graham, the longtime legendary Philadelphia Eagle who's been with this organization since 2010, dating back to the Andy Reid days. Could have his days, numbered a little bit in the city of brotherly love. I hope that this doesn't come to fruition because BG, an all-time Eagle, with arguably the most important play in franchise history with the strip sack of Tom Brady in Super Bowl 52. But look, he's 34 years old. He's going to be 35 by the time that the 2023 season comes around. Might not have an opportunity to get another big contract, and he could land a nice little bag. And according to Tim McManus, BG generating interest from other teams, including the Cleveland Browns. His preference, of course, is to stay in Philadelphia with the organization that drafted him in the first round ahead of Earl Thomas back in 2010. But the sense is he is open to signing elsewhere. So it's not like he's only firmly saying that he wants to sign with the Eagles. If there's another team that blows him away with the contract offer, he might bolt, and I certainly don't blame him. And of note here is that former Eagles defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, who was the Eagles DC when Brandon Graham strip sacked Tom Brady in Super Bowl 52 in Minneapolis, was hired this offseason as the Browns defensive coordinator. And BG, coming off a torn Achilles, age 34th season, had arguably one of the best seasons, if not the best season of his career in limited snaps, let me add, less than 500 of them, yet he still produced a career high in sacks with 11, 48 total pressures, 32 hurries, and 16 quarterback hits. And to see Brandon Graham leave, I've said this a couple of times on the show, to see him in a different uniform would almost be like seeing Brian Dawkins in that Broncos orange and blue. It just doesn't seem right and doesn't look right. And this is why the Super Bowl loss for the Philadelphia Eagles hurt so much, is because the Eagles going into 2023 simply won't have the same team. 11 combined starters offensively and defensively are going to be free agents, and this team this upcoming season is not going to be as talented and as deep as it was in 2022. And that's why the fact that the Eagles squandered that opportunity to bring home their second Lombardi trophy really is a kick in the stones, because it's going to be even more of an uphill battle to repeat that success and to get back to the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 53. Your schedule's going to be tougher. Your team isn't going to be as deep and as talented, and you're going to lose a lot of marquee players this offseason. Now, make sure you subscribe to the channel for daily Eagles free agency and NFL draft updates. Nobody has you covered like we do here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I appreciate everybody for recently helping us get past 42,000 subscribers. The other players that the Eagles could lose, it includes these four here on your screen. Javon Hargrave, career high in sacks. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, one of the best safeties in the NFL. James Bradberry, a second-team All-Pro this year. And Isaac Seumalo. We're going to talk about each of these players and what The Athletic had to say with their most recent report. First, though, Philadelphia Eagles Now is presented by Rhone. Look how flexible this shirt is. It's phenomenal. I love how it fits me tight in the chest and in the arms, and it's not too long. When I was working at WNEP in Scranton, it was really difficult to find a dress shirt that fit well and looked good and had really good material. Well, Rhone knocked it out of the park, especially with their commuter shirt, which is what I'm wearing, and their commuter collection. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention. Rhone stepped up to the challenge. Their commuter collection, it's comfortable, breathable, and it's flexible. And they have products for every occasion. We're talking comfortable dress pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos, and you never have to worry about what to wear when you get the commuter collection. And it's time to feel confident without the hassle. With Rhone's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. They also have odor-free technology with Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. You'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long, and on top of that, Rhone is 100% machine washable so that you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether and save yourself some money in the process. So Rhone, you could go from playing 18 holes of golf to hosting Philadelphia Eagles now with ease. It's RHONE.com/chatsports. Promo code chatsports for 20% off. Once again, that link is available in the comment section and in the description of this video. Let's continue to move forward on today's show and really uncover the latest Eagles free agency buzz with those aforementioned players. Could Philadelphia lose all of these guys? Let's bring this list back up. Javon Hargrave, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, James Bradberry, and Isaac Seumalo. 4 players who were all starters. Hargrave had a career year. I thought C.J. Gardner-Johnson did as well. James Bradberry, like I said, a second-team All-Pro. And Isaac Seumalo may have been the best right guard in football. So you look at these 4 individuals, and let me pose this challenge for you and put you to the test. Play stay or go with all of these players down in the comment section. Then in a couple of weeks, look back to see what you were right about and what you were wrong about. Ideally, Philadelphia would maintain and keep all of them on this roster. It's just simply not going to happen. So why the Eagles are in danger of losing these players? It comes from a report from Zach Berman. In his most recent article in The Athletic, he said the Eagles will have a list of headliners signing elsewhere in 2 weeks. General Manager Howie Roseman has actually been transparent about this reality in his public statements. It doesn't mean they won't try to keep some of their top free agents. You'll find those who speculate Philadelphia will be aggressive trying to keep Javon Hargrave and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but the way the Eagles are banking on 2024 compensatory picks shows they're resigned to the reality that they won't re-sign their top free agents. Look for Hargrave, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, James Bradberry, and Isaac Seumalo to all sign deals that put them at or near the top of their positions and give the Eagles a favorable spot for the compensatory pick formula. So the plus here and the positive spin is that the Eagles could get comp picks back for these players going elsewhere. The negative is that the Eagles won't be able to re-sign them, and they could be making top-of-the-market type of money. Good for them, bad for this organization and this fan base, because those are marquee playmakers right there. And all of those players, when you look at the positional breakdown of the top free agents in this 2023 class, Hargrave, C.D. Deuce, James Bradberry, Isaac Seumalo, they're probably either number 1 or number 2 at their respective positions in this free agency class. And now that Daron Payne got franchise tagged by the Washington Commanders, the market has increased for Javon Hargrave. He could really get some serious dough. 11 sacks last year from a defensive tackle spot. That's just really, really absurd. 57 pressures, 40 hurries, 10 tackles for loss. Was he spectacular against the run? No. Was he disruptive in breaking down the interior of the opposing offensive line and generating a pass rush? No doubt about it. And waiting in the wings for Philadelphia, a couple of young guys, which is why I believe that Hargrave is probably going to go elsewhere. You drafted Jordan Davis in the first round last year. Milton Williams used a pick on him in the mid to late rounds 2 years ago, and maybe they decide to draft a rookie at defensive tackle at number 10, at number 30, or at some point in the first round if they trade back or trade up to allow them to play some of those young players and their draftees, but also clear some money off the books and pay a fraction of the price to these two players, Davis and Milton Williams, and then that rookie as a third. And Hargrave could get $20 million per year. Deron Payne was franchise tagged. He's going to make just shy, if he plays under that and doesn't come to an agreement on a long-term contract extension, of a base salary of just shy of $20 million. The franchise tag takes the average of the top 5 highest paid players at that position, and you get the median, the average out of it, and Hargrave could get around that in free agency. Of note also, the Philadelphia Eagles have not used a franchise tag on a player since 2012 with Deshaun Jackson. Howie Roseman doesn't think it's a good way to do business because you're paying maybe a little bit too much, more than market value, in the immediacy of the moment. Speaking of Jordan Davis, if he has to replace Hargrave, do you have confidence in him? Will he make a second-year leap? Simple Y for yes, N for no. What say you? Next up, Isaac Seumalo. In 2022, I think he was the best right guard in the sport, as every member of that Eagles offensive line was either an All-Pro, a Pro Bowler, or a Pro Bowl alternate. Pro Football Focus overall grade of 75.2, league average is 70, pass blocking grade of nearly 80, that's elite. Run blocking grade, not great, 69.5, but I think he's a better run blocker on tape than he is according to some of the analytics here. In 1,135 snaps, 1 sack allowed, 3 hits allowed, 20 pressures, which isn't great by any means, but the sacks allowed and hits allowed makes up for that, and 6 penalties this year. As for how much Seumalo could demand on the open market, this might give you a glimpse into that. This is the list of the highest paid right guards per year in the NFL. Brandon Scherf, $16.5 million per year. That's a ton of money. Wyatt Teller, 14.2. Zach Martin at 14. And then there's a pretty steep drop-off to Halapoulivaati Vaitai at $9 million, and then Shaq Mason at $9 million. Look, with the NFL salary cap increasing, Isaac Seumalo coming fresh off his rookie contract, he's still young. I think he's going to get more than Vaitai, former Eagles legend, and Shaq Mason. Maybe a team that's desperate for offensive line help puts him in that neighborhood of a Zach Martin, Wyatt Teller, or Brandon Scherf, and the Eagles simply won't be able to afford that. Why? Well, I think they're going to be smart about this. You can find good offensive line talent in the draft, mid to late rounds, and UDFAs. And then when they come into Philadelphia at the NovaCare Complex and at Lincoln Financial Field, you have the best offensive line coach in the NFL in Jeff Stoutland to develop some of those young offensive linemen. Look at what he's done with Jordan Mailata. Look at what he's done with Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelce over time. Cam Jurgens in the preseason looked ready to replace Jason Kelce. Isaac Seumalo is a byproduct of the player development factory in the trenches from Jeff Stoutland, and Lane Johnson has benefited from Jeff Stoutland. And there's a reason why I'm watching the NFL Combine today as I was nerding out about some of these running backs and offensive line prospects, and guess who's there helping out some of these offensive linemen? It is Jeff Stoutland. Lastly, let's round out with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and James Bradberry as we go to the secondary. The Eagles simply may not be able to afford C.D. Deuce. I hate to say that. I love him as a player. I love his swagger. When I had an opportunity to sit down with him and talk to him in the lead up to the Super Bowl, he was a very compelling interview. He's turned heads around the league because he made a seamless transition from nickel slot corner to playing safety, and it looked as though he had been playing safety for the bulk of his career, when in reality he only had about 80-plus snaps at safety and had to pick up a brand-new defense right before the regular season. Finished the year despite going out in, week 12 against the Green Bay Packers with that lacerated kidney. Tied for the league lead in interceptions with 6, 5 tackles for loss, 8 pass breakups, 61 solo tackles. It seemed as though whenever the Eagles needed a big play in that secondary, he made a massive play at the most opportune of times. And I just think that this guy is a culture builder within this locker room, a guy who a lot of people rally around and respect, and to lose him after getting great value on him after fleecing New Orleans Saints, that would certainly hurt. But he's going to look to get paid. He could be one of the highest paid safeties in the NFL when it's all said and done. Maybe the Eagles use the franchise tag on him, but again, Howie Roseman does not think that's a smart way to do business. All right, James Bradberry to round things out. The plan to take a cornerback at number 10 or at number 30 makes a lot of sense to me from a team-building perspective and a financial perspective, while also keeping the 32-year-old Darius Slay. Why? A lot of good cornerbacks set to be available at number 10. Here is the list of the top draft-eligible cornerbacks, and some of these guys really, really did impress at the NFL Scouting Combine. Cam Smith out of South Carolina, really good player. He ran a lot faster than what people had anticipated. So too did Joey Porter Jr. He ran around a 4.4, 4.5. Eli Ricks, Kelee Ringo got into the first round. And let me say, this list was kind of put together by Pro Football Focus prior to the NFL Scouting Combine. It's going to change because Kelee Ringo, he was awesome at the Scouting Combine, blew a lot of people away, as did Christian Gonzalez, one of the faster corners in this draft class. Unfortunately for Devin Witherspoon, who's actually gotten a lot of Darius Slay comps, he did not participate in some of the drills because of a hamstring injury, but Pro Football Focus loves him and thinks that he is the number 1 draft-eligible cornerback here. I think that Joey Porter, you can't go wrong with him. You can't go wrong with Witherspoon. You can't go wrong with Gonzalez. All of them could be available at 10, and if they are all available at number 10, or a couple of them, maybe the Eagles do slide back to get another pick later on in the draft. So once again, let's go back to that question. Play stay or go with all of those players that we talked about a little bit earlier. Just predict it for me. Have some fun. Look into that crystal ball. As always, appreciate all of you for watching. Hope you had a great weekend. You're rounding it out with the phenomenal Sunday Fun Day, and we'll catch you on Monday here on Eagles Now.